In high school and college, about 50% of students are women, but only about 1/3 of athletes who participate in team sports are female. Does the disparity reflect natural preferences or reveal a systematic problem with school athletics programs? Here's Jane Salinger.
Sports does teach you something, how to handle pressure, how to lose with grace.
She learns discipline. She learns handling success and setback. She learns teamwork. She learns so many areas that don't happen quite as dramatically in other places in our society.
I think it gave me a good sense of what success feels like. I mean, I wanted to be the best at everything I set out to do.
Females playing and winning in sport is not new, but achieving athletic success usually defied what society thought was the proper role for women. It wasn't until the well-publicized success of early stars such as Althea Gibson and Wilma Rudolph that the true fight for equal opportunity began.
In the 1960s, you can credit Wilma Rudolph for winning some gold medals in the Summer Olympics. And people said, where are all of the other women who should be earning medals and doing well for the United States? And they said, well, there's no athletic program anywhere.
That awareness was part of a movement which eventually led to the 1972 passage of Title IX, which mandated equal opportunity for females, including athletic programs. But that law, now 20 years old, has been slow in changing attitudes about how society still looks at females in athletics.
We're not there yet. We are sending tremendous numbers of mixed messages to our young girls. Are we getting the messages from the printed or electronic media that says this looks like a fair opportunity that girls and boys can enter in equally and really gain so many valuable life lessons? We instead are getting these messages that says, well, the few of you who are tough enough, who are resilient enough, and who don't mind being undervalued, go for it.
In 1990, a group of women in Minneapolis were concerned that those mixed messages were keeping girls out of existing athletic programs in the parks. Troubled by several studies on girls' self-esteem, they looked around and saw girls dropping out.
There was a really dramatic consensus that, gosh, there's not enough going on for girls. I mean, there's girls hanging around parks with nothing to do, or there's no girls at all. We never see girls here. Or where are the girls in sports? I thought Title IX was supposed to guarantee that they could play with boys and play any sport.
We looked at our statistics. We became very alarmed because, in fact, it was worse than we had expected. The participation of girls was down to about 20% that of the boys.
When I first got here 3 years ago, there was like nothing to do for girls. I would come up and just sit around and do nothing, and it got boring, and there was nothing else to do because we didn't have a gym, and most of the time the court outside was full, so we couldn't play out there. There's just nothing to do.
They have to know that there's a place in the community to do those things. It seems like a natural thing for boys that age, 12 to 16, to, when they want to get together, they'll feel perfectly welcome to do it in a big public facility and have their activity and their social and athletic experience. But the girls don't tend to think that way. There are a lot of girls that once they get past 11 or 12, they feel real restricted in what they should do physically, that it's not cool to be an athlete or a jock, that that's not feminine.
About 2 or 3 years ago, or when we first started this initiative, one of our directors over at Central, in fact, who had played for the Gopher basketball team, was all set to get her girls' basketball team going. And when she began to approach some of the girls in that neighborhood about playing, they were like, and they had been so used to watching the boys play, they were like, oh, you mean we could do that? And I mean, I almost cried because I thought, here we are in 1990. I can't believe that there are girls in this city who really don't understand that sports are for them.
So the park board made some changes. With the help of a Vista grant, the Youth Line Project recruited volunteers to reach out to adolescent girls using a holistic approach to address their needs on a range of issues.
I like this because it ain't no boys in it. That's all. See, it's girls, they have their private things.
When a whole bunch of girls get together, there won't be with boys to get on their mind. They have a lot of basketball and stuff to do.
If the boys was here, they would have went out and told all their friends what it was, laughed at us and everything, because I think it's a girls thing, not a boys thing.
When Youth Line started, I was still coming up here, so when the Youth Line mentor approached me with it, I was just all for it, and I just got involved right then. And ever since then, there's been a lot to do. Last year in school, I was thinking about playing basketball, but my self-esteem was low, and I didn't think I could play that good, so I just waited, and I got on a Youth Line team this summer, and I found that I can play better, so I'll play for school.
You get this thing going, and new issues arise. Often these girls are responsible for younger brothers and sisters, so when they would show up to participate in their games, in tow was the younger brother and sister, whom we weren't quite prepared to deal with. So we began to talk about how could we respond to the need of these younger children to have positive recreation along with their older sisters. So we've tried to be creative about those kinds of things. Over the last year, the second year of the initiative, we have increased our participation in girls. About 900 new girls have come into the program, over 91. So I think what we're saying here is that girls do want to participate, they do want to be involved, but it's a matter of really focusing a little attention on them and opening up opportunity for their participation.
On three, the dream team. 1, 2, 3, dream team!
For many girls, strong neighborhood athletic programs play a large role in sparking an interest in athletics. For St. Paul's Lisa Lissamore, they went beyond, opening doors for her to a career path.
There was about 10 to 12 of us that played basketball pretty seriously in the Summit University area. We used to just race down to that gym. Many of us worked at Oxford, and there was just a time of day, about 2 o'clock, when we would play full-court basketball. We'd beat the boys off the court, and then boom, we'd be there just playing our game full court. It's a really, really a disheartening thing for me to go back down to these playground, particularly Oxford, and not to see the young women in the gym in the way in which we were when I was growing up. And so some friends and myself, started talking about this and why aren't these young women playing, and started asking some of the young women around the neighborhood whom we knew were basketball players, and they talked about not having time to attend clinics and to play in the daytime like my friends and I did when we were their age. And one of the things that we decided to do was to have a clinic. And so what we tried to do was to structure the clinic whereby it did not compete with their jobs, so that made it an evening clinic.
All right, now listen, you guys, when you're doing a defense, you guys are not supposed to be bent down like this. This is not defense. Defense is like you're sitting in a chair, okay? You're sitting down, reading the paper.
One of the things that we also thought about that was not existing in the community were female athlete role models. And each of the women that I run this clinic with are excellent role models themselves. But in addition to that, we'd bring over people who were in athletic leadership positions to talk about their careers and try and get the young women thinking about athletic careers.
Let us show you how to play some ball. Let us show you how to love the game. Let us show you how to get something out of it, whether it's the college degree, whether it's a nice job, whether it's just a college scholarship, where it's some, whatever, self-esteem.
I was very introverted prior to playing sports. And, once I realized that I could do something, and not only that, I could do this well, I became more assertive, more outgoing, and it caused me to be a different person. And our young girls are struggling with their identity right now, particularly the ages of 12 to 15. Do I play sports? Do I not play sports? Am I caught up in stereotypes? And what I try to teach them that is within them.
I would like to see the day that there are more women, not only managing women teams, but just managing in more leadership athletic positions. Just more of that, so that role modeling is there, and that young women know that door is open to them.
You want to keep playing, you think?
Yeah.
when I grow up, I want to try to be an NBA coach, but...
Right.
Thinking about the future has become a way of life for two-star high school athletes, Tracy Henderson of Minneapolis-Henry and Shireen Luz of Richfield. Both have been recruited by major college athletic programs, but both are realistic about what their futures hold.
I think it's made my life really well-rounded. I mean, sometimes I tend to think there's a little too much of the athletics, but it's really given me a lot of opportunities. I was trying to think what you do for a setting lecture. I could not think of what you say. For setting? Yeah. I have these colleges calling me and asking me where I want to play, and I have my choice of almost anywhere I want to go to play volleyball, and I've had a lot of offers for softball and basketball too, so.
I just want to go to school, go, get the best education I can for free, because I'm looking for a scholarship, so. That's what I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to work hard at it after I get it, It's all left up to me.
I know that I'm not going to play volleyball the rest of my life, and I need a good education.
I'm not planning on playing basketball for forever, but after I go to pros, play a little while, I'm not looking forward to playing basketball all my life because I know sooner or later I'm going to get sick of it. That's why I want to get into computers so I have something after that's over, something that I enjoy doing besides playing basketball.
Well, I think my biggest dream would be, sure to go to the Olympics, but from just an all-around aspect would be able to get through medical school and become a pediatrician because I know it would be so hard, but that would probably be my biggest dream. I would love to play in the Olympics, be on the volleyball team. I would just love to be on there, and because of the way I look at those athletes, it would just be incredible to be one of those people that I could have people looking at me and saying, wow, maybe I could do that someday.
Before I started playing basketball, my hero was Florence Griffith Joyner. It just made me think, I want to be good, be good at something, And I always wanted to go to the Olympics. I always had that, to go to play in the Olympics. And I really enjoy watching Michael Jordan. I want to dunk in a game. I want to dunk on someone, not just one time. I want to do it like my guy friends do it, like drop step dunk and stuff like that. That's what I really want to do. And I'm going to do it one day. I'm going to do it.
Now there is a tremendous power move.
There are few institutions in this culture that have as much power and prestige as do sport. And to deny that or to constrain or limit half of the population from having an opportunity to reap those benefits and rewards has enormous impact on half of the population. And the bottom line is that it's not fair.
I so often think that women's athletics or girls' athletics really reflect the nation and the way in which we treat women and girls.
Barkley with a quote fest coming out of Monaco, where they trained for about a week, particularly like the beaches where the women are required to wear less attire than in the United States.
Females look at the television screen or look at the newspaper or look at magazines and see that they are absent from the sporting scene in terms of having their image being reflected back to them. What that then in turn tells them and the general population is that girls are absent because they're not interested in participating. And it's not that they're not interested in participating, it's that they're not covered. Given the lack of support and the lack of positive feedback they receive compared to what men receive, it's amazing that girls participate at all.
She penetrates the arc, she goes to the lane, she goes in the air, and she shoots it in there.
If you show women engaged in sporting activities in which their physical power and strength are emphasized, in which their psychological discipline and internal fortitude are emphasized and characterized, then we would see images that directly challenge the stereotypes of what it means to be a female in this culture, which is to be, in many cases, subservient, passive, docile, and inferior to males, both in terms of physical ability and physical power and strength, and mental and emotional power.
She landed smiling on her size 3 feet.
Potentially, sport offers an arena where all those myths about women and men can be shattered.
I was watching the Olympics,
They played the men were blowing everyone out. It was sent over to Barcelona to blow everyone out. But, the women, they really didn't even show the women's game. All you heard was they lost.
You've got some of the best female basketball players. Again, another way of putting some role models in front of some young viewers. And again, you miss, and it's a missed opportunity. Until we change the attitude of how people view women's sports, I think you'll continue to see what little you do see.
All the research shows that it's very important for you to see someone who looks like you in a place where you might want to go. And it looks like a very unwelcome environment if there isn't a sort of reflection of you. I might share with you very quickly a story that a young man really proudly raised his hand at this function I was speaking to, and he said, "Chris, you'd be so proud of me. I took my little girl to and it was a professional sports thing." And I said, "Oh, that's great. That's a good first step." And then I followed up by saying, "Do you realize that the players were men, the officials were men, the scorekeepers, the timers were men, the person who coaches, a man, the person who runs, the CEO, a man." So indeed, you were left with either a dance line or a cheerleading that was the singular reflection of your little daughter. Is that really what you wanted? And he went, "Oh, I didn't know, I didn't think." And I said, "Why don't you do this? Still take her to those games, but come and see a Go for Women's event, because you'll see women in all of those positions and will better give your daughter the real dream that she can become that which she sees."
Shits on the kill, side out Minnesota.
I often say I want every little girl to have the opportunity to be an athlete. And some people will say, "Do you want everybody to be an athlete?" And I go, "No." I said I want them to have the choice.
We're trying to catch some of those girls and saying, "You're good people. You have some things going for you. This is what they are."
It gives the girls a sense of belonging. It reduces their isolation maybe as a result of some of their responsibilities or as a result of confusing sexual messages that make girls kind of retreat from real strong participation in community life.
I've always been a believer that the game is more than a game. It's kind of like a stage for you to find out about yourself and how you're going to make your way in this world.